Backyard Professor Chess videos. Oh, we got to do some warm-ups, do some stretching. We're ready to Chessercise, right? Yeah, I know, I'm acting like I am, but I have yet again another astonishing game to Chessercise with us, to explore, to examine, to see how these grandmasters play such fabulous chess, and to realize that once we recognize and practice learning how to interpret the positions, we can begin playing like them. This game completely blew me away. This is a game played in 1920 with Bogoljubau and Rubinstein. Now, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, Bogoljubau. Unfortunately, he has the stigma of being completely wiped out by Alexander Alekhine. But then Alekhine wiped out everybody in his day. So when he played Bogoljubau for the World Championship, he completely mopped the floor with him. And so we have this idea that Bogoljubau was not that good of a chess player. Bogoljubau is white. Akiba Rubinstein, is black. Now, for those of you who have studied the history of chess, Rubinstein is no slouch. This man was at the top of the echelon of fabulous chess players in his day. He was certainly in the top 10 strongest chess players. This is a game that I discovered for myself in one of my chess books that I didn't even know I had, where Bogoljubau simply schools Rubinstein. This is what shocked me. Bogoljubau reminds me of Alekhine in this game. It is that good. Truly amazing. They do the 4 knights. All 4 knights are out. Bishop, queen, knight 5. Bogoljubau puts the question to him. And now Rubinstein pulls his knight up into the center, moving another piece twice. It's an early outpost, so realistically it's not going to be permanent, because once this knight moves, then the pawn can chase the knight away. So we don't know, that's probably not the best time. It's a little bit early to do that. Well, Bogoljubau takes the pawn, and Rubinstein returns the favor and takes the pawn. Now there's a picture for you. 4 knights right in a row, all in the middle. That's kind of a unique situation there, isn't it? The board, you'll notice, is completely open. There's no central pawns yet. And what does this favor? Bishops. But what do you see? Knights everywhere. Kind of fun, isn't it? Well, knight takes the knight here, and the knight takes the bishop here. So now we have our first imbalance. White has the 1 bishop, black has both, right? So Rubinstein with the 2 bishops, with the field completely open, it should favor him and his bishops, even though Bogoljubau is completely hogging the center with his 2 completely unsupported knights, and we have a real loose knight over here. This is quite a wild start, right? And these guys are not amateurs. These guys are 2 of the best as far as that goes. It's a very interesting situation here. Knight takes the king-bishop pawn, f7. Kerpow, baby. Wow, what a move by Bogoljubau. Bogoljubov. It's a weird name. It really is. Now this is fascinating because Rubinstein doesn't take that knight. He can't. I mean, with the queen coming out and the knight right here, it's already bad for Rubinstein. He does pull the queen to king 2. The reason, well, never mind. The knight takes the rook. He got the rook. He couldn't take it because the queen comes up here to rook 5, and it was very bad, if not a direct checkmate, you know. Or at least he takes the knight. Well, the queen takes the knight, check. On a wide open board, look at this board. There are still no central pawns. This is so fascinating. King comes to bishop 1. Isn't that an interesting move? So he foregoes castling, but he doesn't need to. You'll see. Knight comes back over here to queen 5, and now you can begin seeing Rubinstein getting a little bit greedy. This knight has moved many, 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 many times, right? Now, this isn't typical of Rubinstein. This is what is so fascinating to see how he's doing this. Rubinstein, I hate to say this, but he almost looks like an amateur. He looks like one of us, because that's what amateurs do. You can't do that at this level of chess, and Bogolubov shows him why. He says, okay, let's just push the king-rook pawn. Pawn to queen knight 4. Rubinstein pulls that. Pawn to queen 3, let's challenge the little lady. Queen comes back to king bishop 4, trying to stay in the field. Bishop goes out to knight 5 with a spectacular outpost, developing another power, and zipping right toward the king here. Very interesting. Pawn comes to king knight 3 to give the queen support. Notice this. We're in the 12th move, and there still is very few central pawns. The only one is this one. It's still a wide open field, and Bogolubov is putting his bishop where it should be, out in the open field. Rubinstein, oddly enough, is fiddling around with just one knight and a queen. He hasn't bothered bringing out his central knights, his central pawns, and bringing out the bishops where they would flourish. This is very odd to see Rubinstein playing this way. Now that we know what the imbalances are, we actually recognize what the players should be doing, which one is doing what he should be doing, and which one isn't. Very interesting, isn't it? It's fun to have this kind of knowledge so that we can see what's going on. Pawn to king knight 3. Queen comes to queen 2, supporting the bishop doubly. Very interesting. King bishop to knight 2. Now the bishop finally gets the knight, because he can't save the knight. It doesn't matter where he moves now. The knight is gone. However, look, the king bishop 2 is the weakness, right? And the king bishop 3 is a weakness, right? He's starting to show lots of weaknesses in this area, and because of this, Bogolubov is focusing on that area where the weaknesses are. This is good chess. I just want to point that out. That's part of our Chessercise, right? See the weaknesses and recognize how these guys play to those weaknesses. These are huge holes. Rook to king 1, check. The open file, the wide open board. Where do rooks belong? Open files, wide open board, check. Right? Knight comes to king 3 to block the check. Also, he challenges the bishop here. King stuck in the center now. Pawn comes up to king rook 5. He's going to continue pressuring up the king's side, right? Pawn takes the pawn. At this point, do you notice something interesting? Black's king side is completely obliterated. The weakness is here, the weakness is here, the weakness is here. The double pawns, it's just shattered. And that's exactly where Begaljebaugh is going to play. Play at your opponent's weaknesses. This is our Chessercise. Rook takes the king-rook pawn. Of course, it's a weakness. That's a weakness. That's a weakness. The whole area is weak. So attack those weaknesses, and what does he do? He gains another open file. He has an open file. He's prevented the king from castling. Rubinstein has not developed his entire army. He's still not ready to castle out of danger. He can't now because of the bishop, so Begaljebaugh is going to make sure that that bishop is safe. He's forcing Rubinstein's king to stay in the center, and he's coming at him with everything he's got. This is excellent to observe. Pay real close attention. Bishop finally takes the knight. Well, he got the knight, but the bishop is on a horribly poor square, even though he does have a very excellent line down here to b2 if he wants a target. Queen comes to queen, knight, 4. Wow. He's got a zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. He's looking for a checkmate quick, isn't he? Woo-hoo, that is a move. Well, the only thing he can do is pawn queen bishop 4. Now he's starting to push his pawn. It's about time, dude. Queen comes all the way over to here. King rook 4. He's closing the net. King comes up to king bishop 2. Bishop comes down here to queen 8. He is virtually surrounding Rubinstein, isn't he? This is incredible to witness Rubinstein getting so trounced. This is very rare. If you play through Rubinstein's games, he beat all the good guys in his era. Nimzovich, Spielman, Lasker, Alekin. Here, Begaljebaugh is taking it to him. It's pretty impressive how he does this. Queen comes over to knight 3. He is trying to protect his king. Rook comes up to rook 6. More pressure in the open file to get to the king. He's eliminated one of the king's running places. The queen virtually has to take the rook. It's too much pressure. The queen takes the queen, beautifully so. The knight takes the bishop. The queen goes to rook 5 check, and here Rubinstein resigned. And when you look at why, it's obvious. White has only 2 powers. Black has 4. 2 of them never even got to move. Because he fiddled around with his knight. This is our Chessercise. Don't move the same piece all over the board and leave your army undeveloped. You can't win that way. This is our lesson here. Create the weaknesses. He has 2 files, and he has the attack. Watch what happens if king comes to knight 2. Then queen goes to king 5 check. King comes up to knight 3. Queen comes to king 4. Then king goes back to knight 2. And the queen takes the rook. And that's why Rubinstein resigned. Because with just 2 powers, Bagaljabao is going to clean him out. That's a great game. That game has lots of lessons in it. My serious advice is try to get the game if you can, but if you can't, watch this video several times so that you can get the feel for the logistics of the mistakes Rubinstein made and the correct play in the correct area, utilizing the weaknesses in order for him to get his attack and win. This is a great Chessercise. So that's the lesson today. Thanks for watching my videos. Happy checkmating. Happy Chessercising. And I'll see you in the next video.